creative preparation for the work that you do. And I know that began actually around the time that your dad died.
Yeah.
Was it 2013?
Yeah, yes.
You've written about and said that at that time the relationship got constant.
I think we went in such different directions, and he was always very proud and very supportive of the work I was doing, of the fact that I did well at school. And at the same time, that diversion can be quite difficult for a relationship. So we never really had a lot of very easy personal conversations. And we never quite got over that. And I think the roots of that kind of did remain in my teenage years when I was starting to become interested not in science, but in books and films and TV. So we never quite worked our way through that, I don't think.
It's interesting because that gap in understanding is present in so many books. I think about Here, there's recent books of sorrow, that's there, that those characters who can't quite say what they feel to one another.
Yes, in many ways it's a luxury to be able to put it into your work instead. And it's also a shame, not to do it. A shame not to do it in reality, I guess. But, books shouldn't be therapy, but you do have a chance to work through things, so that to a degree.
And also to express something that's actually probably more common than we would like to admit.
Yes, they don't always necessarily have the answers, and they don't always necessarily understand, but you do get a chance to at least make an effort.
Let's have some music to the disconnected. What are we going to hear and why?
Well, if you were a kind of bookish psychic detectionist teenager, Kate Bush is just what you've been waiting for. I completely idolized her as a 15-year-old, and I do still now. I can't express enough how important she was, how much I admire her, and I could have chosen hundreds of songs, but this one again kind of hovers between melancholy and joy, and I think it's just a phenomenal piece of music, so strange and eccentric and wonderful. This is Cloudbuster by Kate Bush.
Speaking to you again soon. Miriam Cates, former Conservative, appears recently as earlier this month after Kirstone and Stocksbridge. Listening to that is Martha Gill, who's a columnist for The Observer and journalist, and joins me now. Martha, would it make me a better editor or presenter because I did have children? Would it have no impact whatsoever? Good morning.
Good morning. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I don't think that's really the question that JD Vance is inviting to us. The question is, why is this very common method of stigma, which, only really begun to receive in some countries in the Western world in the last couple of hundred years, this stigma against childless women, which you see in every patriarchal country in the world. The more patriarchal it is, the heavier the stigma. Why is it being brought back now by J.D. Vance? I mean, he used the phrase childless lady. I mean, there's no question here. I really don't think that it is, as your previous caller was saying, previous interview was saying, a matter of balance and, people with kids are now so thin on the ground that we need to really make sure there are enough people with power. I don't think this is the case. In fact, I mean, when you think about women, it was really only relatively recently that women with kids were able to work, right, and were able to ascend to the top places in society. So it used to just be childless women who were capable of making that climb. So really, I think that was a bit of nonsense. But yes, so it's of course what's relevant here is a massive amount of outrage that these comments are causing because the US is relatively gender equal. People don't believe that women without kids are child escalated. So it's incredibly countercultural. So I don't think this is going to really help us.
Lastly, how do you view a ticket that could be a potential administration with Trump and Vance?
Yeah, I suppose that going from what I said before about this being a very about this sort of really trying to promote Zipper against people without kids being a very strong symbol of advanced patriarchy, along with what they try, along with the views on abortion, which he thinks there should be a nationwide ban. At least he said that. I think what that dimension is very worrying.
Martha Gill, thank you. We'll talk again soon. I have to leave there, Martha. We're going to get to these British and I'm delay. Martha Gill is journalist and columnist for The Observer. Paul's coming in on this already. Also, I want to tell you, we did tell you about this in the first hour, but it would appear these attacks on the French rail network are actually far graver than was at first thought, and they are causing considerable travel difficulties, which is relevant because, of course, folk are trying to get to the Paris for the start of the Olympics. We'll have a full report on that after this. It's 9:16. LBC News headlines read by Thomas Watts.
Just hours before the Olympics opening ceremony, officials say France's high-speed rail network has been hit by arson attacks. The health secretary's told LBC the Care Quality Commission has been effectively making up ratings, and further protests have taken place in Manchester after a police officer kicked a man in the head. LBC weather drier today with sunny spells for many places, a high of 24 degrees.
LBC travel, I'm Anne-Marie Walsh on the M25 clockwise. There are delays of around 10 minutes towards the roadworks at Junction 5 for Sevenoaks. Then on the anti-clockwise side, it's slow from Junction 26 at Walraby to 25 for Enfield because of the roadworks. In New Southgate, there are delays on the North Circular westbound towards Bells Green Road because of the roadworks, and it's queuing on the A40 eastbound from the Medway underpass in Perryvale towards the roadworks at the Hanger Lane Gyratory. In Cranford, the A312, the parkway is partially blocked both ways at the M4 junction 3 for Hayes because of an accident on the roundabout. And in Hertfordshire, the A41 is closed both ways near to Watford for a police investigation.
This is LBC.
And she's off! The corner shop is in sight, the National Lottery sign is there, and she's heading right for it! Look at Rebecca. She's making a real difference just by playing the National Lottery. Her numbers help fund Team GB and Paralympics GB athletes.
Prepared to be in place, so I was promoted beyond my abilities. You know, I used to have the main part in every production because there was no one else. But I did work
So the only boy who gets to be in the place, so that was more around the bells.
Yeah, the total way.
So I wonder whether, you know, the years ago,
There's always been voluntary friendships, you know. It's not slightly more girls in a couple of female friends. Yeah, so this is conscious. I don't know how possible to yeah. I was talking now about libraries and how important they were to me. I was a little bit scared of being a library. I was slightly proud of it because I was a trouble library, so I was very out. But I did volunteer at the library and it probably would have a bit of worrisome. So this is Life on Mars, which I think is just a magnificent song. My daughter wanted Heroes, which is also a wonderful song, but it's my island, so we're having Life on Mars.
Why did you choose this one? What do you love about it?
The grandiosity and the mix of the classical piano and the glam rock drums and the way it goes in all kinds of unexpected directions. I think it's just a fantastic, almost ridiculous piece of music, but I love it.
Make the stress-free switch to an electric van.
FA, coming to you in just a second. So let's personalise it a little bit. I have told you many, many times the best job I have had or ever will have is being a father. Very, very fortunate to have two lads with whom I'm desperately close and very fortunate. Sadly, the marriage didn't make it, but we have a great relationship, so that's all cool. But does it make me a better radio? If I am a good one anyway. What a ridiculous thing. Do you know, I want to choose my words carefully. Because while I'll say that I think it will be nice, that doesn't mean other people are not sure they can't be great radio presenters, because of course they can. But if, for instance, let's look through what's roughly known as the agenda for this show. If we look through the stories that we've done today, did it matter talking about the attack at Manchester Airport? No. That would have made a blind bit of difference whether I had 2 children, 0 children. When we started, or even when we started talking about the National Health Service, did it make it? Yes, it did make a difference. I had children. Because the story I shared with you was when I was with one of my children and I saw the blood on the hospital floor. So that's a direct fact. When it came to the story about the paedophile at the Olympics, can I get into the emotions, the conversation I had with, and I won't name her again, but the woman from the East Midlands, because I have children? Yes, I probably. Now, does that mean someone? No, that doesn't mean you can't do it, and you can't emote with someone because you haven't got children. I would never suggest that. But it is part of life's experiences. Now, if what I do here, which unbelievably I've done for a few years now, God knows how I'm cleaning on, if it is to have conversations about all sorts of things that are happening, if it's political, by and large, it's like a blind bit of that, whether I've got 2 children or 2, not a blind bit. But when it comes to more personal affairs, such as concerns over county line drugs, concerns over education, concerns over health, well, of course it does, because I'm very lucky to have 2 children, and indeed now have an even greater stake in the skin of the game, and grandchildren. So of course, but I wouldn't say that makes me better. Well, I'm not good anyway. Let's say, it's just a different perspective. Once you have children, I believe your whole perspective on life changes. In my case, I undoubtedly became a less selfish person. Undoubtedly. Now, that doesn't mean I'm better, I hasten to add. It just changes the whole tack. You become a different person when you have children. I say again, not necessarily better, just different. But more importantly, what do you think? FA is in Rochester. FA, you're on the radio. Hello.
Hello, Nick. I'm actually from Corby, but I'm on my way to Rochester.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, where do you want me to put you then?
Corby.
Corby, I'm so sorry. All right, FA from Corby. You're on the radio. Good morning.
Nick, you just nailed it. I'm a father as well.
Yep.
May
I ask how many children you have, sir?
3 boys.
Oh, boy. What age range?
19, 14, and 9.
Well, I tell you, a few years ago, you must have needed the endurance of an Olympic athlete to be able to play with all that long.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you were saying
What did you learn from your children?
I've always been somebody who wanted to be a father, and the way I was brought up, I was a friend to my father, but the data father was a friend. So I'm not to bring my children the same way, and the way I say things like you rightly said is different.
Yeah.
At the same time, it doesn't mean when people don't have kids, they can be a better person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did it change your life, being a dad?
I'll say not much. I've always been trying to be a better person, but a very more protective person. Work hard every day to make sure that I put things on the table for them, make sure that I protect their life, try to put them on the right track, get them out of trouble, and the best advice of life. I also have people around there that don't have kids that love them so much. So that's what I'm saying, like, your guest just said that more women on the table or not having children may not allow you to say decisions. If we remember, if people with children, so they took our benefit on children.
What? And lastly, do you think it gave you everything you hoped it would?
Before I go, we should remember, I've met people who have children. They said saying it this way, they will never have had children.
Sorry, what do you mean by that?
As parents today said, with the stress they're going with their children, they wish they never had children. If they see the future, they will never have thought of having children.
Thanks for that, FA. Glad you enjoy being a dad to lads as much as I do. Sophie's in Wanstead. Sophie, you're not happy with what you're hearing. Why is that? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. I nearly choked on my tea. I'm on school holiday.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. I don't have children, and I've worked in school for 21 years. That has not made me less effective, less sympathetic or empathetic. You know, years ago, not so long ago, women who didn't have children were called barren. They were called old maids.
They're not
Do
now.
we,
No, of course they're not.
No.
now. No.
but do we want to get to that point again? No, we don't.
No one's.
And if I was in the job, would I have to cover, if I was a politician, every single demographic to represent those people effectively? So if I was a man, would I not have sympathy for women? If I was childless, would I not have sympathy for parents? If I'm Asian, would I not have sympathy for white and black people, or want to pursue the best possible result for my...
No, I don't think this. Do you not think that if you'd had children, would that in any way have made you a different person?
It would have made me more frazzled and stressed, yes. So maybe it wouldn't have made me more effective.
How do you know it would?
Because it's stressful being a parent. Obviously, it would be an honour to be a parent, but it was a conscious choice not to be.
Of course, and I respect that choice. Do you have nieces and nephews?
Yes.
How much do you enjoy interacting with them?
I enjoy interacting with young people and having a positive, impactful effect on their life. I do not have to be a parent. I have to be a human being. That's it.
Lastly, do you think in any way, and I don't know, you know, you might be an age where it's still time you have children, and I wouldn't pry anyway. Do you think in any way you've missed out of part of life's experiences?
No.
No. Okay.
In any way, shape or form.
Okay. Sophie, be well. Thank you. Please, I wasn't going at you personally, just exploring the whole idea of it. Thank you, Sophie. Donna in Kensington. Donna, your reaction to this. Good morning.
Well, it's the same old, Nick. Men bullying women over their bodies. You can't have an abortion, you must have kids. If you want kids, then you men have your own kids.
Well,
We'll decide if we want kids or not. You can't do anything without women.
Right.
And the reason we're being bullied is because we're the ones that give life. And if we decide we don't want to do it, this is your tactic to put us down, to say we're second-class citizens, because you can't have children without that.
Well,
And women don't fall for it. You decide. I'm sick of this. Always putting women down. We have the power. We're the ones who give life.
right.
This business cannot go on without us. Yet we've been treated like second-class citizens. I'm just sick of it.
Might I ask, do you have children?
No, because I decided not to.
Right. And
It was my decision.
indeed, and that I totally respect. What drove that decision?
I came from a large family and I knew all the consequences of children, and I did not want to have that.
Sorry, what are the consequences of having children?
The consequences of having children are women are the main caregivers. Women are the ones who go through childbirth. Women are the ones who risk their lives giving birth to the species.
Right.
Women are the ones who pick up the slack when the fathers walk away. I didn't want that.
The fathers don't always walk away, of course.
Well,
Sorry if they did in your instance, but
no, my father did not walk away. He's the best father in the whole world. But
isn't that interesting that you had such a great relationship with your dad? And I'm
I
delighted.
have a great relationship with my father. Thank God he's still alive.
That's great. I'm really celebrating. We can speak to. When we talk about our life experiences, and unless we're talking about, as we're about to actually, attacks on the French railway network, apart from that, we talk about life's experiences, whether it's the treatment you've had at the NHS, what you've made, whatever else it might be, the problems with education of your child. So it's life's experiences. Well, I mean, just the very fact that I'm fortunate enough to have been in this business for God knows how many years, the fact that I've lived and worked in the US, the fact that I've lived and worked in Australia, it just adds to life's experience. It doesn't make me better, Colin. I've never pretended it made me better. It just gives me a different perspective. We might return to show. You come in and out of it. I don't want you to speak with Ahmed Yaqub now. He's the lawyer acting for the young men involved in that incident at Manchester Airport on Tuesday. And I asked him what he wanted to see the police officers involved. What should happen to them?
That will be mixed motivated, but like I said, if those were normal people, civilians, people, they acted jointly, they could well be charged with attempted murder.
But more on that after this. It's 9:31, breakfast with me, Nick Ferrari on LBC. The news is read by Thomas Watts.
The high-speed rail lines in France have been hit by coordinated arson attacks hours before the start of the Olympic Games. The disruption is also causing delays and cancellations to Eurostar services between London and Paris. Ministers have announced emergency measures to address significant failings at the NHS and care regulator in England. An independent review's identified a series of problems at the Care Quality Commission. Rachel Reeves has confirmed she will set out a Treasury audit of the public finances on Monday. The Chancellor, who's at the G20 summit in Brazil, is expected to claim there is a black hole of around £20 billion a year. LBC weather, drier with sunny spells for many places. Showers developing in northern and western parts of the UK. A high of 24 degrees.
This is LBC.
So, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I've called you in today because Charlie has been using some rather colourful language, and the dinner ladies don't really appreciate it. The word he used was...
Some conversations aren't worth the trouble. People used to think talking about your finances was one of them. But with a My Money review at Skipton Building Society, you can get advice that helps you make more sense of your money. And it's completely free. That's one less conversation you'll regret later.
I would 50 lines off, I will not teach my children bad language.
Online, over the phone, or in branch. Search Skipton Building Society to find out more.
Checkatrade are so confident in the quality of the trades on checkatrade.com, they want to shout it from the rooftops and from the bathrooms. And who better than...
Method, I think. There was a scene where the donkey gets beaten, and it was quite traumatic. I got the note from the director saying, you might need to tone that down, the kids are ready for it.
So it is possible to do too much.
Yeah, oh, very much so.
It's time for Dissimplified, if you don't mind. What have you got for us?
So I have...
I've got high hopes for the weekend. Any barbecue recipes I can make with the kids?
A homemade burger tastes like the weekend to me. You focus on making some juicy steak patties, and let the kids design the rest. You might just have a new chef on your hands.
I'll take all the help I can get.
Looking to make the most of it this weekend?
Ask Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's. I'm food for all of us.
Find this recipe at sainsbury's.co.uk/recipes. Subject to availability. Ingredients available in selected stores and online. Excludes locals.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC.
With Vauxhall, the new electric van range designed to energise Britain.
Quite rightly, we've been hearing a lot of the female perspective. If you'll allow me, we will come back to that. Magda, come here from you. Let's hear a bloke's take on it as well. Mark's in Haringey. Mark, your reaction to what we're hearing from both dads and non-dads and mums and non-mums. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Nick, I find it, with the whole parenthood aspect, it's a little bit suspicious when you've got somebody who reaches, 14, 15, and they say they don't have any children.
Why is that so posh? You sure you want to use the word suspicious?
It's curiosity. It's curious as to why. What have you been doing for 50 years? What have you been doing for 40 years?
They don't want children.
Well, there you go. There's a suspicious. Why?
Oh golly, why is it suspicious not to want children?
It's a natural curiosity throughout ages. What has led you to not want to, I don't want to say be like the rest of us or the majority, but it conjures up curiosity and suspiciousness. Why?
Presumably you would accept, sad in some instances, there are medical issues. You accept that?
100%. 100%.
So what of the couple who say, we just don't think we can give enough love. We have a fantastic relationship as it is. We have a lovely lifestyle. We change our car every year. We holiday wherever we want to do, and we just don't think we'd have been able to enjoy that lifestyle with children.
That is totally understandable, and I do get that. I do get that. But then there are other people who sometimes, there are many people who haven't had children, who then go on to have children, and they say, actually, this is probably the best thing I've ever done. It's changed me, it's softened me, it's given a real new dimension
Do you
to my
also
life.
accept there are people in that category who go to be orphan parents?
Yes, totally. But then you've got the child, you know, having children gives it's elation and there's an element of miserableness.
Oh my God, but you never worry in the way you worry as a dad. I'm sorry, as a parent, a dad or not, but the worry is indescribable and unsurmountable, the worries that you have. But then I would change it for a second. Okay, let's talk government, or governing rather, governing. How important is it that a Prime Minister or a President has had children?
I think very important.
Why? Describe why.
It gives you a layer of breadth of experience. It's essentially, if you're governing, you are governing on behalf of others, I think. And it just gives you, I think it's that hidden inside aspect. It's not necessarily the be all and end all, I get that. But it makes you more approachable. It makes you more relatable.
I've enjoyed our conversation. I have to say, Mark, I haven't agreed with everything you say, but I'm grateful for your views and have yourself a good weekend. Mark, thank you. Magda and Stanmore. Do you agree with what some of Mark's just been saying, or do you think he's got it completely wrong? Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. Hello. So I think that I decided to call because I feel like people are, like, especially the two ladies that called, they were very defensive in a way about the whole idea of having or not having children. I think they have slightly missing the point, if I may say that, because the question you raised was about the perspective and having a different perspective. And I'm 40, I've got 2 little children, and I think it actually changes not only your perspective on life, but your life dramatically. And just to give an example, I get very emotional when I hear the news about pedophiles and, you know, things like this.
Do you need to be a mum to get upset about that, do you think?
I have nieces and nephews. I've always had family around me, including small children. And I have to say, I've never been that emotional about, like, you know, stories about families and children and child abuse until I actually had my own children.
Yeah.
So
how would your life, and this is an impossible question, but I'm going to answer it. Ask it. How would your life be different, do you imagine, if you'd not had children?
I would still have a social life. My social life, being in London, being a young adult in London, working in central London for over 10 years, staying with my husband, I think we would have had a much different social life, involving a lot of outings and meeting with friends and things like this. And I used to enjoy London. I used to love London a lot. I've been here for almost 20 years. Now, for the last years, since I've had children, I'm actually starting to dislike it, if I may say. And it's
like
funny.
what part of it?
The violence, the uncertainty, the fact that you can't really, in some parts of London, you can't really leave your children to play outside. The lack of green spaces, all of this is actually, like, my perspective onto the city changed so dramatically that I'm actually thinking of moving out of London just because I had children.
I don't think you're alone in that, lastly, Magda. I think a lot of people will look in certain parts of London and think, actually, I can get more for my money, I can possibly get a back garden, I'm out of here. I'm taking the kids out to the countryside.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Magda, will you excuse me moving on? It's only to get more people involved. Thank you. Look after them. Thank you. Neil in Marlow. Neil, your take on this. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Nick. I'm not childless, I'm child-free. That's how my wife and I like to see ourselves.
Conscious decision, Neil, by you and your
it was a very conscious decision to be child-free. I mean, you can still have an input to life. J.D. Vance is saying if you don't have children, you can't sort of set a direction for the future. Well, I used to be a magistrate in a youth court, and I used to spend weekends and evenings, spending many, many hours dealing with these kids in society that had problems or that were